Hello and welcome to the lecture for week 7 coming up. So I wanted to remind you that you need 3 sketch models for a demo day. So you have talked to mentors and you have narrowed down all of the options that you presented to them. And now you are working as a team to build 3 sketch models that you will present on demo day. And then after demo day, with all that feedback, you'll move on to just one final project. And then if you're wondering what are examples of demo day toys from last year, these are some of the examples. So again, these are mostly pretty rough. This one at the top left here, the final was the final selection, and it was mechanical, and all those moved around. So this was just a kind of looks like prototype that they were able to move it around manually, so you could get a sense of it. But yeah, this is kind of the fidelity that we were looking for. So we're going to talk about form right now, and why is it important? So form really affects our perception of artifacts and things, and it makes us feel a different way depending on what it looks like. So why do we feel good about certain things? Why does this cute puppy make us feel good? Also, this is a prime example. The same physical thing, but we feel differently about one or the other. One of these definitely brings us more warm feelings and more happiness than the other. And kind of why is that? So there is power in form. So this is a Don Norman quote, who I'll talk about later. But all these objects here are aesthetically pleasing, and they enable you to work better, and they are easier to deal with and give you kind of more positive feelings. In fact, that corresponds with work as well. If you are in a place that is designed to evoke these feelings, has a form about it, uh, then it allows you to work better. I'm sure you've experienced this. You've been in spaces that like urge you to do something, as opposed to spaces that make you feel less alive. So there's definitely something there. People will buy what makes them feel better as long as they believe it works well enough. This is a Philippe Stark design of a juicer, and uh, it was super popular because it was kind of a beautiful set piece that you could have in your kitchen, that people would talk about, and it was interesting. Must say, maybe not the best juicer out there, but it evokes those feelings because of how it looks. I mean, those feelings, because of the form of a thing, are important. You know, like they do let people know. They telegraph to other people thoughts about you, like this car, and they make you feel a certain way, make you feel good about. Everyone has their favorite pair of pants or favorite shirt that it just makes you feel good. Um, this bottom one is important to us, and thinking about, I mean, what like stands out on the shelf, what pops on the shelf, what is interesting to people. So so starting to talk about form, you want to talk about surfaces. So this is a gradient of the different level of surfaces that you're seeing. So C0 is kind of two faces that come together, and you can see a seam. And then C1 is kind of tangent, so is round. And then C2 is total curvature, so you are not seeing any sort of seam or roundness there. And each one of these, which is exemplified in the vehicles below, do have kind of a feeling associated with them. So like something that has more curves has this open feeling of friendliness. Something that's more tangent is utilitarian, and something more positional is kind of stark. It evokes a little bit of danger. We also love symmetry in form. I mean, they always say that the most attractive people are the one with the most symmetric faces, and that is true with form as well, as you can see in this Toyota logo. And it's natural to find symmetry aesthetically pleasing. You see it a lot in nature. Similar to that, we find balance also pleasing. That things are positioned in a way that makes sense to us, that kind of uh, also adds to that symmetry. But then there's also color. And this is just your basic color wheel. And we're talking about things that are complementary and things that are kind of analogous here. So colors that go well together are complementary. So straight across, or in this triangle, and then things that are, a little bit away in either direction around the circle, being analogous, also go to well together. So you can kind of see these in these toy shape, these toy colors. You see this a lot in branding. So you have all these complementary colors on the left, and then analogous colors on the right, and we find those pleasing. You see them in toys as well. Obviously, that's what we're talking about. So these matter when you're thinking about the different ages. So thinking about all these toys and then kind of putting together in the general understanding of play patterns and things. So under 1-year-old, as Dr. Gummer talked about, they're working on gross motor and visual development, so they're recognizing faces, and so very bright colors, especially reds and yellows, are helpful in development and more pleasing to a young mind. So contrasting colors, and then you want soft, simple, rounded corners and easy grips. And then 1 to 3, you're starting to understand cause and effect during to pretend play. So again, more bright and contrasting colors. And again, you want to continue to have like soft, simple, rounded corners and easy grips. 4 to 7, they're understanding representation. They're developing rules and logic. And they are looking for objects with more realistic detail. So colors that match those familiar things, like this wood on the right that actually looks like trees, those kind of things, because they're making those connections in reality. 8 to 12, they're starting to develop skills, and they want, and because of the skills and having the connection with the real world, they want to shift from cartoons to real life. So they want objects with even more detail and skills needed to use. So more complex schemes appropriate to the product. So a lot of these are found in this really great book on the left by Don Norman, who I constantly think about. It's just trying to think about the user in mind, and like that a design teaches you what to do. So the big thing that I always think about him is if a door has a handle on it and it's facing you, it means, if it's like a pull handle, for instance, it is signifying to a person and a user that you should pull it. So it is incorrect design if you push that. And so you are trying to use the form to explain what this does, and that makes it easier for the user and a more pleasurable experience. Another great person that you should know about, just in design in general, is Dieter Rams. And Dieter Rams is known as the father of industrial design. He's the one that kind of came up with form and kind of pushed that. He has 10 simple rules which you can Google, but they're all very simple. But he he is he's a monster in the design world, like just a big figure, very important in what he was doing. A lot of he pushed for simplicity and kind of simplicity and aesthetics. So he is you can see his legacy in um, Apple products, which is super fascinating. So Dieter Rams worked for Brahms, which was kind of a company that made all sorts of products, and Jonathan Ivey, who was the kind of senior creative head at Apple for years and years, uh, really loved Dieter Rams. So many of the designs there were just an homage to Rams. So it's just a very interesting person to know and to be aware of. All right, see you next week.